Hello students. In the first chapter, we have studied the different events in sexual reproduction. The chapter Sexual Reproduction in Flowering Plants describe in detail these different events, that is pre-fertilization, fertilization and post-fertilization events. As you all know, flower is the reproductive part of a plant. During the reproductive period, the leaf primordia gets converted into floral primordia and that develops into a flower. Now let us study the different parts of a flower. The stalk of the flower is called pedicel and the tip of the pedicel is somewhat swollen and it is called thalamus. All other floral parts like calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium are attached on the thalamus. The outermost wall is the calyx, which is made of sepals, which mainly protects the floral parts during its bud condition. Inner to the calyx is the corolla, which consists of petals. It is brightly colored and attracts the insects for pollination. Next two walls are the important parts of the flower, which are called the reproductive parts. Androecium is the male reproductive part of the flower, which consists of stamens that produces male gametes or the pollen grains. Next word is the gynoecium, which is the female reproductive part of the flower. It consists of pistil or carpel. Stamen is the male reproductive part of a flower. Each stamen has a long slender stalk which is called filament and a bilobed anther is located at the tip of the filament. A typical angiosperm anther is bilobed, that is it has two lobes and each lobe is again divided into two chambers or theca and hence it is called dithecus. And the anther is bilobed dithecus structure. Even though the structures are common, but in different flowers, the shape and size of anther and filament are different as seen in these diagrams. This is the transverse section of an anther. The anther is a four-sided structure consisting of four microsporangia located at the corners, two in each lobe. The microsporangia develop further and become pollen sacs. Now we can see the structure of a microsporangium. In the transverse section, a typical microsporangia appears to be circular in outline. It is generally surrounded by, this is the enlarged view of the microsporangium. It is surrounded by four wall layers: epidermis, endothecium, middle layers and tapetum. The outermost layer is the epidermis. Inner to the epidermis, there is a single layer of endothecium. Inner to endothecium, two or three layers of middle layers are located. These three wall layers, epidermis, endothecium and middle layers, mainly helps in the protection and also which helps in the dehiscence of anther to release the pollen grains. The innermost layer, it is the tapetum. It nourishes the developing pollen grains. When the anther is young, each microsporangium contains a homogeneous mass of cells called sporogenous tissue. This sporogenous tissue later develops into the pollen grain. This is all about the structure of male reproductive part of the flower. Now let us study microsporogenesis, the process of formation of microspores or pollen grains from microspore mother cell or pollen mother cell. As we have learned earlier, sporogenous tissue is a homogeneous mass of cells located inside the microsporangium. Each cell of the sporogenous tissue is capable of giving rise to a microspore tetrad. Each cell is a potential microspore mother cell or pollen mother cell, which is a diploid cell. It undergoes meiosis to form a cluster of 4 cells. That is, first this pollen mother cell undergoes first meiosis and it results in the formation of 2 cells. Then the second meiosis leads to the formation of 4 cells. This is called microspore tetrad. As the anther mature, the microspores dissociate and form different pollen grains. That is, 4 pollen grains are formed from each pollen mother cell. Inside each microsporangium, several thousands of microspores are formed, which are released by the dehiscence of the anther. The pollen grains represent the male gametophyte. Pollen grains are generally spherical in outline. They possess 2 prominent layers, outer exine and inner intine. The exine is a hard layer made of sporopollenin, which is one of the most resistant organic material present in nature. Pollen grains are well preserved as fossils because of the presence of sporopollenin. At certain places, the sporopollenin is absent in the exine. That region is called germ pore. The inner thin layer is intine, which is made of cellulose and pectin. The newly formed pollen grain has a central nucleus and dense cytoplasm. When the pollen grain is mature, it contains 2 cells. The protoplasm divides and forms 2 cells, the larger vegetative cell and a smaller generative cell. The vegetative cell is bigger, has abundant food reserve and a large irregularly shaped nucleus. The generative cell is small and floats in the cytoplasm and it is spindle shaped. About 60% of angiosperms, pollen grains are released at this 2-celled stage. But in the remaining species, the generative cell divides mitotically and form 2 male gametes before the pollen grains are shed. Okay students, we have learned the formation as well as the structure of pollen grains. Now we can study some important features of pollen grains. The first feature of the pollen grains is pollen allergy. In some people, pollen grains of certain species cause severe allergic problems. These may lead to chronic respiratory disorders like asthma and bronchitis. An example of such pollen grain, that is the pollen grain of Parthenium or carrot grass. Next point, it is pollen products. Pollen grains are rich in nutrients. In Western countries, they are being used as food supplements. These pollen products are available in the market in the form of tablets and syrups. Pollen consumption increases the performance of athletes and race horses. Next feature of the pollen grain is pollen viability. Pollen viability is the period for which pollen grains remain functional. In some cereals like rice and wheat, pollen grains remain viable for only 30 minutes. In some members of families like Rosaceae, Leguminosae and Solanaceae, pollen grains remain viable for some months. Pollen grains can be stored in pollen bag. The pollen grains of a large number of species can be stored for years in liquid nitrogen, that is minus 196 degrees Celsius. This is called pollen bank. Hope everybody understood the topic very well. Okay students, study well. Thank you.